Namaskar and welcome to this exciting show, Sattology, Debunking Mythology. Last couple of days, we have heard from many different people about the impact of this new temple construction or beginning of the temple construction of Bhagwan Ram in India on the consciousness of Hindus as well as the world. There is a lot of euphoria, happiness. In the US, we can see, and even South America, we can see a lot of happiness. South America, North America, even Europe. And the biggest, the biggest community organization for this temple construction has come from Hindus from other countries, not from in the US. We can say there is an excitement in the Indian Hindu community also from India, but the Hindu community from Guyana, Trinidad, Tobago, Fiji, and all the other Caribbean islands, and also South Americans and American Hindus is way higher. Yeah, to just give you a rough estimate, almost 200 buses of Lord Ram's devotees or fans is going to New York to celebrate this. So we have a very eminent guest with us who has spoken many times on our Sattology channel. He is going to shed some light or give us more views and analysis on what is this euphoria and how is it going, this temple is going to change the consciousness of people around the world. So let us welcome Shri Ratan Sharda ji. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
So Ratan Sharda ji is like a festival going on. It's like another Diwali in the US. It's
Yes.
people are happy, people are posting, and people are organizing in a big way. 4 major communities in the US, ISKCON and all 4 major temple communities, they are they are bringing free food in the Times Square, because Times Square is a symbol of USA in many ways, and people are driving long distances. People taking RVs, going to New Jersey, parking there, and all kinds of things people are doing. Why? What is that mindset according to you? What do you see? What is going on in the consciousness of these people?
See, the Hindu Samaj, the Sanatana Samaj has 3 most popular gods: Shiva, Rama, and Krishna. And all the 3 gods together form the most popular pathology in any home, wherever you go. So whichever way the Hindus are, whether they are born in India, whether they are born outside India, or maybe converted to Hinduism, for them, this is a very important date. And if you look at India, nearly every 8 to 10 people you have a name which will have Ram in it. Just think of your parents, everybody around parents, because that is the deep way in which Ram affects every life. And you don't have to tell anybody about Bhagwan Ram. Everybody knows, grandfathers, grandmothers, they tell you his stories when you are a child, because he's a model man. He's a man who tells you, who inspires you how to run your family, how to run your statecraft, and how to look after people, how to organize people. So Bhagwan Ram, not only did he do all this as an ideal man, he also organized very lowly, ordinary kind of people, the tribals, the Vanavasis, the people of every kind, to bring up an army which could fight a mighty terrorist like Ravana. So that is why Ram is so close to everybody's heart. Now, why everybody is so happy? There are 3-4 elements in this. First element is that if you go to Mathura, there is a Krishna temple, huge Krishna temple. But the Janmasthan, or the birthplace of Krishna, is not inside the temple. Next to it is a mosque built by Aurangzeb after destroying the old temple. In that outer wall of the mosque, there is a small place, alcove. They say this is Krishna Janmasthan. Imagine any religion's god, any religion's supreme being, be put under a wall of a mosque while your temple stands aside. You go to Kashi Vishwanath. There you have one of the 12 most famous Jyotirlings. Kashi, suppose, is the oldest and is the oldest city. It is abode of Bhagwan Shiva. And there the Nandi bull, who is supposed to face Shivaling everywhere. He doesn't face the Shivaling which is there now. He faces a mosque which is built on the half-broken temple, deliberately kept half-broken by Aurangzeb. So it is a mosque, and the Nandiji is looking at him. The Shivaling has been re-established by Ahilyabai Holkar, and that is the temple we pray in. So Hindus have been compromising, Hindus have been suffering this humiliation, this sense of defeat sustained continuously for hundreds of years when they go to these places. In case of Ram temple, the worst was that the Ram temple was totally destroyed. There was nothing left. But somehow the oral history, the written history of the area, and finally the archaeology came to the rescue. And it is not that Hindus never struggled. This struggle is last 500 years, 490 to be exact. Then the struggle started to regain Ram temple. Thousands of people died. So many cases for last 130 years. There have been cases in the Indian high courts, Indian lower courts, higher courts, where we have fought the case legally. We have not overturned the law. We have gone by the constitution. We have fought through the law, and we have regained this birthplace Rama in the face of scientific evidence. It is not just a question of faith, scientific evidence. So this sustained fight of 500 years brings you back to a civilization which has not given up. If you look at any other civilization where the Turk or Mongol invaders went, they have destroyed the entire civilization. Nothing is left. What was left in Turkey, Hagia Sophia, has now been claimed by the Brotherhood people now. So wherever you go, they have been totally finished. There is no sign of any of those places. But India has survived. Bharat has survived. Sanatan Dharma has survived. So this 500-year-old fight tells us that we will not give up. We will not give our faith, our civilization, and the way we have still, in spite of this, we have dealt with our people who were converted by force or by lure as our own brethren. That is the strength of civilization. That is why this rebuilding of Ram temple is very important. It is not destroying a mosque or bringing up a temple. It is, reclaiming our temple for which 500 years of struggle has gone in, and it signifies the return to our roots. And now the time that we will be assertive, we will not give up our rights just because somebody tries to tell us you're not a good boy. So we will assert our rights on what is there, what is rightfully ours, and we will see to it that civilization survives and thrives. So second lesson of this entire exercise begins on the 5th August, symbolized by readiness to face the history and disease, not go by what left and British historians told us, that this is a defeated civilization which was not there, and by grace of Lord Mountbatten and Nehru, we created an Indian nation, and now we are trying to reinvent the Indian nation. No, sorry. We have 10,000 years of history, recorded history, of which Ram is a part. So we are reclaiming that history of ours. We'll come to more points later.
Oh, great points, Ratanji. Another question comes to my mind, like somebody asked Prabhupada, and he said that just the one line he mentioned, according to the Western civilization, he asked them, where is the Western civilization? And that's where he stopped the answer to that question. Now, people especially the Americans here, they have very little information about Hinduism. Sometimes the Hindus think that the Americans know them, but I would tell you, generally they have very little information about Hinduism. And majority of them, even though Indians have been living here, or Hindus from various other countries have been living in the US for almost 110 years, I could say that. But still there is very little information, partly due to the reason that many Hindus fail to educate their peers about their own culture. They hide behind secularism. They try to minimize themselves by giving more respect to other culture, which is not bad, but then to highlight their own culture also. And during that process of trying to please others by showing that how broad they are, how broad-minded they are, they lose their own identity. Jews make up less than 1% of this country, and still it's called a Judeo-Christian background. And now Muslims are less than half of what Hindus are in this country, or probably even one third of what Hindus are in this country. But I would not be surprised that this country will proudly claim their Judeo-Christian Islamic background. And again, the Hinduism is left out. So, what is that thing that Hindus lack in asserting themselves properly that most of the other people they refuse? Like we are too subservient, become too subservient that we try to even lose our identity.
So you're talking of Hindus in USA, which is for them an alien land, at least for major, a section of the society, and they behave a little defensively. But this is happening in India also, because the way we have been educated, we have been made an apologist. We have been made to feel inferior. The entire force of British argument, because they were the rulers that wanted to put that thing into our mind that we are inferior, we have nothing to show off, we are no civilization, our gods are strange, our religion is strange. That kind of education that we got have made us defensive. And the laziness to learn, the laziness to understand our religion better makes it much more worse. So by simply saying we are all equal, we are all same, every religion is same, we forget that every religion is not same. Every religion has its own good points, its bad points, but every religion is not same. What is the biggest strength of Hindu Sanatan Dharma? It is pluralism. It is respect for every other faith. Which other faith today, tell me, in the world, apart from the same group of religions coming from dharmic tradition, Buddha, Jaina, Sikh, and the traditional Hindu, do they have this kind of inclusivity, this kind of pluralism? None. This is our strength. Christianity was also highly exclusivist. They learned over time. They came out of that thing. They reformed themselves to some extent. But outside their own Western world, they are still exclusivist. They are still oppressive of the people who don't convert. It's the history of India. It is current history of India. So unless we read ourselves, we study our own scriptures, we study our own strength, how will you convince others? It is very easy to say everything is equal and we just keep quiet. We have neither read Islam, neither we have read Christianity or Judaism, and which are equal. The Jews and Islamists and Christians can never sit together. They can never be together. Jews have been continuously oppressed by different people. Entire Semitism depends on it's there. So it is for us to find friends within those communities and tell how we can come together and stay together and be strong against the onslaught of exclusivist, fascist kind of religions who are basically a political theory. Basically, when you talk of those religions, at least now since Christianity has gone into democratic way of functioning, though they have huge problem with their faith system, Islam is a complete political system. So unless we understand these issues and unless we understand what is there, the danger that world faces from these kind of exclusivist totalitarian thinking, we will not be able to appreciate Hinduism. And unless we know our pluralism, I talk Ram Krishna, Hari, Ram Krishna and Shiva. What is that? That tells you the entire spectrum of your bhakti. It tells you can worship the God in Sakar or Nirakar with in the form of Murti or without any form. Which other religion gives you that independence? You can be atheist Hindu. Which other culture gives that gives you that freedom? So unless this beauty of our culture and religion is understood and explained to others, we will have this kind of inferiority complex, which has been ingrained in us first by British, then by communists. And we have, I've been telling so many times in our shows, we have such wonderful, brilliant knowledge bank that everybody robbed us of. The Germans took it away, British took it away. It has gone all the way to America, where the biotechnology is supposed to come to India to learn Sanskrit to understand exactly what is inside it. So Ayurveda may be, laughed at, but herbal medicine is enjoyed by everybody. So this entire talk, the most holistic life system that Hindus have, the Sanatan Dharma has to be explained. We don't have to learn yoga from Americans, but at least appreciate that they have understood, but it's not an exercise. It's a holistic system. Yoga, the physical part is just to tune your body and then to reach out to the Supreme Being. Which other system or religion has this freedom, has this strength that you can reach Godhood or the Supreme Being through your own methodology without, worrying about a particular prophet, what exactly he said, I cannot change a full stop or a comma, otherwise I will go to hell. We don't have that. So such a wonderful liberal thought process, such a wonderful liberal way of living a life, which you don't understand, is really misfortune for us. So we have to relearn ourselves. That is where Sattology or ISKCON people have done a great job.
No, great point, and I think I would like to add to what you're saying. The most of the confusion amongst the large Hindu community, you are partly, you are always, you have very academic background, has come from India. So if you look at the Hindus from Fiji, Hindus from Barbados, Trinidad, and other countries, they are very particular about the Hindu faith. They know how to, because they have lived in those countries. So especially when you're living in the countries where Abrahamic faiths are very prominent and Hinduism, so Hinduism also acquires that characteristic where they're very community based, and also they because when you are living in countries like USA where everyone is claiming their faith and aligning themselves to their faith, then the Hindu community also tends to do that. But in USA, because most of the Hindus are new here, have come in last 2 decades or maybe 15 years, last 15 years, they have still retained the Indian confusion in Hindus,
Yes.
where the mindset is, you bend over backwards to accommodate others when others are not even willing to do that. But when you look at the Hindus from Guyana and other places, Fiji, even the American Hindus, they're very particular. Like I have seen one American couple going to a fast food joint, and they're saying, "We are Hindus. We don't eat this, and this." And the restaurant has to serve them food which they can eat. In USA, I would hardly see an Indian couple, becoming dietary conscious and asking a relevant food, which is, like this couple, American couple, went with me and said, "We don't eat onion, garlic, we don't eat mushrooms, and we no eggs." And they told the restaurant, and actually the restaurants, most of the restaurants are prepared for that kind of food, and they
Yeah,
serve
see
that.
that. I've
And
been to USA since last many years, and I've seen the change in food habits, the way restaurants cater to now vegan food, the vegetarian food definitely is there. And see, which other religion will allow you to question your gurus, question your scriptures? We do that. So it is till you are satisfied, you need not follow Buddhism, you need not follow Hinduism. That's the question. But we ask questions, never look for the answers. That is the beauty of our thinking. So let's start even reading and understanding the answers, not just reading questions. You have a problem. Today we're discussing, Ram Temple, and I just remembered that we have regular in our home. We have regular Akhand part or non-stop Ramcharitmanas part or recitation since ages, since my father was there. And since we have grown up, we do the complete, Ramcharitmanas. Then I get into discussions. Why Tulsidas talks about women like this? Why does Tulsidas say this? But despite this, we love Ramcharitmanas. We recite Ramcharitmanas, but we raise questions. That is the beauty of religion. And now coming to other part of Ram Temple, why it's important. See, we have been fed the entire story of our history so badly. We have been told Mughals were benign, British were very nice, they gave us civilization, they gave us history, they gave us science. I don't know what science they gave. Even the numerology has gone to West via Arabic to Western world, and they call it Hindsa. They call it digits which come from Hind, that is Bharat. But we easily say it is Arabic. We say astronomy is Arabic. So all this talk of whether it's mathematics, whether it's metallurgy, whether it's surgery, whether it's architecture or shipbuilding, sword making, steel, aluminium, we had everything, we have everything. But rather than teach them in our syllabus, we are taught Pythagoras theorem. Please teach Pythagoras. At least tell. There was another gentleman who actually wrote this particular formula. So this weakness of ours makes us weak, that we have to keep following, the old traditions and we of the historians or the Marxists. So this sense of incompleteness. We had the best agriculture. Is southern in the Tamil Nadu area where irrigation was artificial. We grew wheat, the rice, to the quantity which is being done by Japan now, and suppose the most productive farming in the world. If that kind of, we have best, the most varied crops in rice. I don't know how many thousand types of varieties of rice. We had organic farming, which now everybody is falling back on. So we now Americans pay more for organic farming. We pay more, but we are told chemical fertilizers are good. So that is what gyan we are given. GMCs are harmful, but they will sell it to us. So they'll make a uniform rice, uniform wheat, which cannot reproduce. So we have to understand that diversity has been maintained by the same civilization because we respect nature, we respect all this. So this has to come back to us. So this will also signify the beginning of going back to our knowledge. And lastly, this particular temple will also snatch back our initiative to write our own history, to understand our own history. We will not go by what Marxists tell us, what British told us 100 years back, which we never try to correct. And we will go by our own knowledge, we'll go by our own systems. We have refuted Aryan religion theory. Now it will be established by all kind of scientific evidence already established. So all this, wrong kind of history, wrong kind of geography taught to us will be thrown to dustbin, and this revival of our own ancient system, our own history, our own knowledge system will be established at this beginning of that particular time. It is not going anywhere. This is the beginning. So that is why this date is very important, because we are seeking independence from the left British knowledge, which told us we are nothing, we are useless people who just burn women, who just have caste, nothing else to offer. And we have the best possible. It was a wonderful scientific organization at one time, the world. Jati was never there. Jati is just a community. We still have communities, don't we have? We have caste system with different countries. We have lots and the commons. We have the whites and the native Indians and the blacks. These are different classes. We never had that. We had those based on our own professions, our own preferences. Now they have gone out of faith. They have gone out of date. We don't believe in that, because today I'm a Brahmin. Yesterday I was a Baniya when I was selling clothes. I was a Baniya when I was doing software consultancy. So different stages of life, you can be anything. Varna is what you do. These things, unless you understand, we will keep, getting to an old kind of ditch we are being told to fall into. So this is the change, that revival that we're looking at from this date.
No, great points, and I think Bhagwan Ram Mandir is going to be a revival of sorts. I think it's and our endeavor in US will be also to establish Hinduism as one of the important religions of North America. Already 40 million Americans, they follow one or the other Hindu principles. Either they talk karma very frequently, or they talk reincarnation very frequently. And the challenge before the Census Bureau of US is that most of these people, they call themselves spiritual rather than religion oriented, and that is 40% of American population. That's an official statistics based on last census. So I would request most of the Hindu Americans, when you fill the census form, write the word Hindu. If you don't call yourself spiritual or unaffiliated, call yourself Hindu, and I think next election will shock the world. And this is the right way to answer in the US, and also it's the right way to assert ourselves more freely. And I really hope to see people putting
See
Ram
what
Tilak in
happens,
the US.
Aditya, what happens, that people understand the principle of different names, and then we are not able to assert that this is our Hindu knowledge system. The uniqueness of Modi ji is making yoga as the international day is to assert that this knowledge belongs to us. Similarly, Vipassana has been sold now in a different form, billions dollars business from USA. All that is nothing but copy of Vipassana. So unless we assert our knowledge system and say this is ours, people say, no, this is world knowledge. Okay, we have given it to world, but ultimately the roots are in Bharat. They belong to us. We will give it. We are giving to others very happily, but ultimately roots are in our own dharmic system. Unless we assert this, unless we time and again tell people will not realize. We have to communicate. We have to tell that what you are doing, this is Hinduism. What you are doing, this is the Dharma. So this is the time to tell people.
Exactly, you're right. Transcendental meditation, they're trying to separate themselves from Hindu identity or a Hindu background coming from Veda. Similarly, there were attempts in the past to separate Krishna consciousness from Sanatan Dharma. There were attempts in the past, and these are all unfounded attempts. I mean, there is no basis to that. Without Bhagavad Gita, there is no basis to Krishna
Yeah.
consciousness or
Yeah.
transcendental meditation.
And
So,
Krishna says, what I am saying is comes from X, Y, Z, hundreds of years back or 1,000 years back. I'm telling you that. And I started this, and so many people followed. This is what is said in Veda, this is what is said in knowledge system. So how can you separate Krishna from that? You cannot.
and mostly this is done by people who are new, and they are strongly with Christian background, and they try to separate that. Mostly it is done by those people. Same is happening with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. But it's time today with the Ram Mandir coming up. It's time for us to
Yeah.
assert ourselves. Don't write unaffiliated. Don't write spiritual. It doesn't mean anything when you write spiritual. What is spiritual?
The thing is that nothing, no other religion has spirituality as its base. We know that. The soul that Christians and Islam talks about, not the Atma we talk about.
No,
The so-called spirituality is part of religion only in Hindu Dharma. Because
exactly.
if you talk about spirituality in time of Christianity, when it was very strong, they would hang the person. They would make him apostate. You could not talk about the spirituality. Same in Islam, the Sufis who talked about spirituality were actually killed.
Exactly.
So basically, it has Hindu roots. There is no other dharma which has got spirituality at its root, because spiritual is that something beyond your normal consciousness. That is what spiritual, and your physical existence. No other religion goes beyond materialism or some simple formulae, which is nothing but just teaching how to live your daily life. That comes in Yamanima. The commandments, the Quranic principles of living good life are basic Yamaniyam for us, which is part of Ashtanga Yoga.
Exactly.
So unless we realize that spirituality basically has dharmic roots, we will say, okay, we are different, and we know, no. When everything is same, it cannot be, because spirituality is not liked by Christianity and the Islam, and now they are trying to reinvent it. But whatever they do, roots don't go. So we have to remember that roots should not be forgotten. We should keep reminding these are the roots. Then people will appreciate.
I think the most famous Christian preachers in North America, Olsen family, Joel Olsen in Houston. If you read their, if you hear their sermons, everything is carbon copy of Bhagavad Gita, and Americans love it the most because it is sold to them as Christianity, but nothing is from Bible written from there.
It
And I would
cannot
like,
be, sir. If you don't believe in Atman, if you don't believe in transmigration, you cannot be a Christian. You have to believe there is no Atman. You have to believe there is no rebirth. That RIP, rest in peace till the day of the judgment. You cannot have Gita as a scripture. It simply violates the basic principle of Christianity. In Indian churches, I recently saw a video where they have translated Gita by replacing Krishna with Jesus. It is ridiculous. Either you will become a Hindu, there is no other way, because once you start saying transmigration, punarjanma, karma, you have forsaken Christianity. So are you ready to forsake Christianity? Then please come back to us. We'll adopt cross also, no problem.
now we'll put Om on the cross. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, thank you so much for your time today, Ratan Sharda ji, and you made very, very valid points. It's time for Hindu community to follow the footsteps of Bhagwan Ram and reassert ourselves. And one more thing I would like to say, Shastra Puja and Shastra Adhyan have to go together. Would you like to say one last comment on that? Because we are taught, stay away from Shastra. But, without Shastra, we cannot protect ourselves physically. And without Shastra, we cannot protect ourselves ideologically.
Yeah.
Both have to go hand in hand.
See, we talk of Bhagwan Ram. Bhagwan Ram went to jungles to kill terrorists. Right? Today's terrorists, when rishis called him. Ram went to jungles. He knew that Ravan will attack him, but he wanted to finish off the terror of Ravana. So he went and took the challenge, went to jungle. He created entire army with complete arms and everything to attack Sri Lanka. When the seas didn't agree to him to part the way, he took out his bow and arrow, and he told that without fear there is no friendship. And then the seas tell him, okay, oceans tell him this is the way you can cross to Lanka, and that is how the Rama Setu was built. So none of the Hindu scriptures, all our gods have arms. Why? The most knowledgeable gods have arms. Krishna had flute, he had also Sudarshan Chakra. Where he needed flute, he played the music. Where he needed Sudarshan Chakra, he took out Sudarshan Chakra. So to fight unjust people, you need Shastra or arms, and to win over people with arguments, you need Shastra, or you need your brains and intellect. We have won our world generally by intellect, but to defend ourselves, to defend our dharma, where required to fight injustice, we have to have arms with us.
So Shastra cut with logic and reasoning, and Shastra protect ourselves. So I think it's time to change our mindset and change the way to look at the world with more freedom than with all the colonial propaganda which Hindus have been facing, particularly in India, because I think the real independence movement starts from August 5, 2020.
It will become
Before
a big
that,
festival in years to come.
yes.
It will become very big festival in years to come. Tomorrow is a new Diwali.
So this August 5, Bhagwan Ram's temple gets started. Last August 5, Kashmir was liberated. So next August 5, what should
See,
we wait
Aditya
for?
ji, Ayodhya belongs to the five topmost cities of Punya, as you know. Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika. So now Ayodhya will take his rightful place. I had gone to Ayodhya when the Rama was in a tent, and I felt horrible. Going through all the lanes, dirty lanes, going to the entire grill made area to go there and find him in a tattered place. It was very heartbreaking. So now Rama returns to Ayodhya, and Ayodhya becomes really one of the Punya Nagaris, or temple of the pious.
Yeah, last year I did visit with Dr. Swami. So I had that good experience. I was there, and but I also felt very sad. And I was more sad when I saw Kashi Vishwanath Mandir. And
Yes,
so Shivji is also in prison, almost like a prison right now. So let us all work towards it. But this is the time for us to celebrate and also imbibe the teachings of Bhagavan Ram in our life and become a Hindu which is willing to stand with both Shastra and Shastra. Thank you so much and Namaskar.
namaste. Thank you.